of a car, parking tickets, and a red light violation.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1169, DeAngelis versus Mariano.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to get a little background on the two of you. Who used to be friends? Who's that?
My witness.
We'll see. What do you do for a living, Mr. DeAngelis?
I'm a photographer and a lighting assistant.
Here in L.A.?
Yep.
And you, Mr. Mariano?
I do sales consulting for a carpet company.
How long have the two of you been friends?
We were friends for about a year, since about like August 2020.
Where did you meet each other?
He was an employee and a friend of my former studio partner, and I met him through him.
There came a time when you had a car that was for sale.
Correct.
What kind of a car?
It's a 2007 Honda Fit.
When had you purchased it?
I had purchased it December 2018 from a friend,
Friend's name?
John Carlo.
How much did you pay for it?
Around $3,000.
Around?
Yes. Yes, around.
No.
Like a magician, Judy waves her hands at him.
$3,000.
Who has the title to the car?
Frederick does.
That would be you.
I do not have the title. The title was in the car when it was impounded.
Oh, that's so interesting. So you bought this car from John Carlo for $3,000, and you sold the car to the defendant.
Correct.
For how much?
$2,500.
In what month and year did you sell him the car for $2,500?
May of 2021.
That would be June of 2021, actually.
Don't interfere. Don't interfere.
I have a text message that says he was saying that the car ran great and then agreed the installment amounts. May 15th, 2021, 3:29 p.m.
May I see that, Kevin, please?
Josh hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She puts on her reading glasses, then reviews a transcript of a text exchange.
Okay, everything is good, everything is fine, everything is happy. You like the way the car was running. Mr. DeAngelis says to you on May 18th, all sounds good. Let's get the title handled as soon as you can. That was on May 18th.
I don't think it was.
I don't give a rat's behind what you think. That's when it was. On May 15th, I was just calling to say the car ran great. I get my car tips from the last 2 nights. What does that mean?
I don't ever remember sending those messages.
Oh, well, then maybe you should go to a neurologist.
Frederick shrugs.
I was just calling to say the car ran great. I get my car tips from the last 2 nights. What does he mean by that, sir? Do you know?
It was some sort of employment that he had. He was just trying to make a false promise to pay me.
And I believe I should be about $400 to $600 so I can pay you then. Is that all right? Yeah, bro, of course. Glad to hear it. Just let me know. Absolutely, man, thanks. You got it with a heart. Hey, I was paid. This is on May 18th. I'm just waiting for the money to come through on PayPal. It says pending, but I'll have a few hundred for you and then a couple more next week. I'd like to try to give you 2 a week, so I'll be more like 6 a month.
Correct.
And you say to him, all good, dude, let's get the title handled as soon as you can.
Josh nods.
What happened to Target?
What happened to what?
Target!
What happened at Target?
Yeah, what happened to Target? Think before you answer me. Think. What happened at Target?
How does that pertain to the case?
What happened at Target?
I got in a fight.
Judy grins at Sarah, then at Whitney.
Love it when a game plan comes together. You got in a fight with whom?
I had somebody try and jump me.
Judy turns to Frederick's witness.
Close your mouth.
He closes his mouth.
Was there a warrant for your arrest from the incident at Target?
No.
What were you worried about evading the police for?
I don't know at all what you're talking about.
Well, how did you think I knew about Target?
Evading the police?
How do you think that I knew about Target? Do you think that I'm a soothsayer? That I have behind here a crystal ball?
Probably not.
Probably not. It's because you're not as smart as you think you are.
I was not worried about evading the police, ever.
Well, that's what you said. You said, I just wanted something more secure. I'd like not to have to worry about evading the police every night and no money worries.
I was working at an underground bar.
So I like not to have to worry about evading the police.
Yeah, I thought you meant in interest to target.
Okay. Well, what kind of job at Milk?
A equipment job, just organizing things and getting trucks ready to go out and
Okay.
go out to film.
And the problem that you had with the job at Milk was passing the background check because of the incident to Target.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Does that refresh your recollection about these things? That you don't have any recollection about writing? Didn't he? Oh, my.
Judy grins at Whitney.
And I thought that this was going to be an in and out. A one and done. Didn't he say he didn't have any idea what I was referring to? He didn't. Something about I don't know what you're referring to. I never wrote that. That's what I thought he said.
He said, what were you worried about evading the police for? He says, I don't know at all what you're talking about.
Okay, so took the car on the 15th of May. He told you on the 18th of May to please change the title. You didn't change the title, and you didn't give him any money, even though you said, I'm having money come in now from this job. It wasn't until, looks like June 9th, that you sent him $400 from Wells Fargo. That was after you landed in Miami. You did go to Miami, right?
I did for 2 days.
You did. And where do you live regularly?
Los Angeles.
And how did you get to Miami?
Work.
What do you mean work?
Work paid for it.
What kind of work?
An acting job.
Oh. You're an actor. Is that what you do? Is that what you...
It's not what pays the bills.
Well, what job was it in Florida that you were doing acting?
It was just a small short film part.
How long were you there?
2 days?
Well, was that the only time you went out of town?
No, I went out of town after I had gave Josh a call and tried to give the car back.
No.
Out of town.
No.
I went out of town from the let me see.
You
July
were in...
21st to August 12th.
Where did you go?
First, I went to Hawaii, and then I went to Spain, and then I went to Chicago.
How'd you get all those places?
I had money saved up.
Judy chuckles.
I hope this isn't an audition, because you're not a very good actor.
Frederick smirks, then turns to his witness, who raises his eyebrows. Caption coming up.
Show me
I do not have that.
Show me
I don't have
an
that.
email. Show me a text where it says, I tried to register
And
the car.
regardless, I
I'm
just-
speaking. Don't speak when I speak.
And later today,
I want to see what you removed in order to put your piece in. Can you take your piece out?
No, it's very hard. You could rip
There
it
are
out.
a lot of things that are very hard but doable.
Whitney smiles. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Josh and Frederick.
Josh DeAngelis claims his former friend, Frederick Mariano, owes for the cost of a car and multiple parking tickets.
Yeah, you got a lot of tickets.
I didn't get all of those tickets. I got 3 of those tickets.
5, Your Honor.
Well, it only takes 7 tickets.
Why didn't you transfer the title to your name?
Because I couldn't transfer the title to my name. Because you can't transfer the title in the state of California when there's tickets on the car already.
Incorrect, Your Honor.
Just a second. Show me that you made an attempt to go to the Department of Motor Vehicles to transfer the title to your name. It was declined because there were. Show me
I do
an
not have that.
Show me
I don't have
an
that.
email. Show me a text where it says, I tried to register
And
the car.
regardless, I
I'm
just-
speaking. Don't speak when I speak. Show me an email or a text where you say, I tried to register the car. He asked you on May 18th. You went to Hawaii. You went to Spain. You went to Miami. You went to... Show me after May 18th when he said, please get the car out of my name. Show me where you said to him, listen, man, I tried to get the car out of your name. I couldn't because I couldn't register it because it had tickets.
I don't have that.
Of course you don't have that. And you have a payment to him of $400, which is the only payment that you made to him, of $400, and that was on the 9th. So between the 18th and the 9th, you clearly didn't try to register the car because you wouldn't have made a payment of $400 if you tried to register the car, right?
Frederick turns to his witness.
That's either a yes or a no. Witness. How much were the tickets?
$623 for parking tickets and $490 for running a red light.
And how much were your tickets that you
Don't,
accumulated?
just a second, don't speak to him. Did you pay the tickets?
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
I didn't pay the tickets because I hadn't received anything from him, whether it
Oh,
be...
well, when you pay the tickets, you come back. Right now, the car was auctioned off because he parked it in front of a red zone.
Yep.
But I know he owes you $2,100 for the car.
And for the red light ticket as well.
No, you didn't pay it.
I didn't pay it because they told me if I paid it, it would be a strike on my record. So I
Well,
signed,
then dispute it and say it was he who was driving the car. You'll go to traffic court.
So I signed a non-liability affidavit on the reverse side of that red light ticket and sent it off in his name. They said they couldn't process it because I didn't have his license number and something else on his information, birth date.
You have your wallet?
I do.
Take out your wallet.
Frederick produces his wallet.
You got a pencil?
I have a notepad.
He is going to read to you his license number, and Kevin is going to verify it.
Y as in you?
Kevin verifies the number.
Yes.
So you dispute that one. Got it?
Okay, and regarding the parking tickets,
I'm not dealing with the parking tickets, sir. They weren't paid. $2,100 is what he owes you for the balance of the car. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
Bye. I'd stay with a full-time job, sir.
Frederick, then Josh.
The car was sold to me with parking tickets already on it.
the truth is it had about 7 on it.
I trusted him, and everyone told me not to, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, he didn't know how to drive 5-speed when I gave it to him, so watching him drive away, was a little terrifying.
Probably no more deals with friends.
Yeah, definitely not dealing with him anymore.
Judy.
I think that these people who sell cars privately in installments to friends should rethink that.
I agree.
We've had too many of those things go south.
Especially without written contracts or any real legal way to hold them accountable.
Right. You have to say to yourself, what could go wrong?
And what can I do to make that not
And
happen?
to prevent that. And if that could go wrong, it probably will.
Yeah. And be prepared for it.
Case number 1175, Voorhees versus Rodriguez. Please step forward.
Zachary Voorhees is suing his friend, William Rodriguez, for the cost of designing a custom guitar instrument.
Mr. Voorhees, your claim is an unusual one, and I see that nobody has a device to show me exactly what it is that you're talking about, so you're going to have to do your best to explain it to me. You have an engineering background.
Yes.
And you and the defendant were friends. Defendant is a musician, and you play the guitar.
Play piano and guitar and a couple other instruments.
And what I gather is that you got together at some point and discussed creating a device for a guitar that enhanced in some way the experience of either playing or listening to the guitar.
Guitar, Your Honor. A blend between a guitar and a keyboard.
So how do you hold, what does it look like? What does it look, show me what it looks like. I have no idea what it looks like.
I would love to show you that. It's on my phone. If I could go ahead.
Just a second. You have it? Never mind.
Sarah shows Judy an image of a guitar.
So it's you hold it, I'm presuming sideways.
You hold it sideways. Okay, so you hold it either like a guitar or down here or up here, but it looks like a piano keyboard.
Yes.
And what was it that you were going to create for this piano keyboard / guitar?
Your Honor, I'm a LED artist and engineer.
What's LED artist?
It's a light-emitting diode. It's a form of digital lighting technology that can be controlled with a computer. And so the defendant approached me to...
Just a second. Is that what you do for a living?
I did software for YouTube and Google as a senior software engineer, and this was a side thing that I did.
So what you were creating was a lighting device for this piano / guitar. So it lit up and it
lit up.
Was it something that you could attach to the guitar?
Yes. It was attached to the guitar and built into it. We removed a piece of the guitar and replaced it with a light array.
Do you have the guitar?
It's here, yes, but it's not prepared to present to you.
I want to see what you removed in order to put your piece in. Can you take your piece out?
No, it's very hard.
Well, very hard is not the answer.
You could rip it
There are
out.
a lot of things that are very hard but doable.
No, you can't remove it.
Can you remove it?
Yes.
And how many pieces are there?
There are two pieces. There's the light array, which is built into the side panel, and then there is a computer unit that plugs in to the MIDI output of the keytar, which analyzes what's being played in order to drive the lights.
Okay. What you want is you've been unable to come to a contractual agreement with regard to exploiting this keytar. And if somebody could get it, Kevin, if you could go out there and bring it in just so I could take a look at it. You've been unable to come to an agreement with regard to how to exploit this thing monetarily. Am I correct that you do not have a written contract?
Yes, but we do have a memorialization of our contributions to the project, of which the defendant has listed my contribution.
Just put that down for a second, because Kevin's going to come back, and he'll bring it up to me. That's great. The memorialization, which you're going to show me, does it list a dollar amount?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you generate it?
January 6, 2019.
Do you have a copy of that?
Not printed, no.
Do you know that it exists?
Yes.
Oh, that's a whole...
Yeah.
That's a whole big thing. But now I see it's huge.
That's kind of where the decision
Kevin,
was made.
just put it over next to the defendant. Did you buy that, sir?
I paid for all of the hardware involved in this. The keytar itself was a gift to me from a sponsor of mine, a music instrument maker.
But everything else there that's built in, with the exception of the lighting piece that he put in.
Oh, I paid for the lights as well.
His contribution?
I paid for the hardware. His contribution was software.
Whatever it is, I don't know, hardware, software, who cares?
William shrugs. Caption coming up.
I feel that there was a verbal contract.
I can't put a value on your work. What you
He
want...
put a value on the work and the contribution.
No, he didn't agree to pay it.
Zachary nods. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Zachary and William.
Zachary Voorhees claims his friend, William Rodriguez, owes for the cost of a custom keytar. William is countersuing for harassment.
Kevin, there's a document that Mr. Voorhees has that he wants to show me where he says the defendant agreed what his financial contribution was.
Judy reviews a document.
Do you know what this is, Mr. Rodriguez?
She hands the document to Kevin, who brings it to William. He reviews it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you explain to me what that is?
This was a expense document that was being made so that in the case that we were able to license the technology that we were building together, we would ask that this would be reimbursed by whoever licensed the technology.
Okay, so the question is, sir, you do not have an agreement with him. He did pay for the items that are marked on there, things that you had to buy.
Yes.
That's a yes. So you want, what you're asking for is for the court to make a contract for you.
Yes.
That's not a contract.
That's not a contract, you're right.
So you created a device.
Software, yes.
Get a patent for it. Courts don't create contracts for people. That's not what we do. We enforce contracts. We don't create contracts. If you created something out of your own mind, something that is of value, apply to the patent office to get a patent on it. He's not claiming that he invented this software.
That is correct.
That the mechanicals of it were created by the plaintiff.
The mechanicals in the software.
Of the software.
Yes, that is correct.
Your Honor, we have 50-50 split agreement. I gave the defendant the option of either paying me or allowing me sweat equity.
Courts do not create contracts for people. Is not an answer.
Yes, I understand.
I mean, I would say to you, if you could remove the device that you put in there, then remove the device. It's now yours. He doesn't have it anymore. You say you can't remove it. He is not claiming that he invented anything. You're claiming that you invented this LED software. If you claim that you invented an LED software...
And installed it.
Well, you installed it, but you say you can't remove it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
If you say you can't remove it, I'm not giving you that whole thing. That was a gift to him. Patent, your software, and that if he intends to use it for any reason, you sue him for patent infringement, for violating your patent, if you get one. But courts don't create a contract for you. That's not what courts do. Got any questions?
I feel that there was a verbal contract, and I'd like to see that enforced because verbal contracts do have force.
They do have, but you want me to put a value on it, and I choose not to do that. I can't put a value on your work. What you want...
He put a value on the work and the contribution.
No, he didn't agree to pay it. It was an agreement that if there was something that happened with regard to this product that came from your brain, your labor effort would be worth $10,000 to that person who purchased it. But he's not purchasing it from you. That was never...
But the value of it came from the design of the software.
Then what I'm telling you is patent it, and if he attempts to use it, see, if you patent it, you can make another one. You can make 10 more. And if he attempts to use your patented software without paying you or anybody that sponsors him, you sue him for patent infringement.
The patent game is a giant's game, and I'm just, I don't have the resources to get a patent and enforce it. I've been down this road before. I've gotten a patent. It doesn't seem realistic to be able to.
Well, I want to tell you something. I'm not an engineer. I'm a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to get something patented that I thought was a genius idea about 35 years ago. Even I managed to get drawings and I'm not an engineer, and I can't draw a straight line. So if it's too cumbersome a process for you, I'm sorry. You should have had a better contract. I'm not making a contract for you against him when there was nothing in that paper that you showed me that obligated him to pay you $10,000 for your labor. Patent it. We're done.
Okay.
Patent.
Court is adjourned.
Thank you.
Zachary.
I felt that an oral contract would be binding, but the judge disagreed, and I'm going to accept that decision.
He has been a good friend to me in the past, and this was pretty sad to have to deal with this.
I agreed to forego payment in exchange for a 50-50 split.
There was artistic conflict.
All I wanted was 10 days out of the year to be able to use the device as I saw fit, and he was basically saying, no, I can't have it at all.
All I wanted to do was talk about why he wanted to use it, or the details of what he was going to be doing while he used it, and that was unacceptable to him.
He took advantage of me. I don't think that I'm going to engage with him again.
I'm ready to move on.
Sarah and Judy.
So I have a friend, Taylor, that I go to law school with, and she is an engineer, and now she's in patent law. And it is some of the most specific, finicky, technical laws. Any regular lawyer can't just dip their toe into patent law. It's a really complex environment.
There's no question he knows how to do the process because he said he's tried the process before. And I had this idea for a screen, something to open windows and have a screen attached, and sent a prototype into the patent office. You can do that. Mm-hmm. People do that all the time, even people who aren't engineers. So if he's invented something that's valuable, he should patent it, or at least make an attempt to patent it. But courts aren't in the business of creating contracts for people. And these two people really never had a contract.
For unpaid loans.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 2082, Smoody versus McDonald.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. and Mrs. Smoody, the defendant used to be married to your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
And according to what I've read, they were married for about 5 years.
Yes.
The thrust of your claim is that he owes for a couple of things, for rent and the balance of a truck. That's your lawsuit against him. I'd like to know, do you know the date of their marriage?
3/16/2011.
And your ex-wife's first name?
Jacqueline.
And when did you and your former wife separate?
In 2020.
And you had 2 children. How old are they now?
They are 5 and 8.
And who has custody of the children?
Dalton has physical, and they have joint custody.
Just a second. So he has custody of the 2 younger children?
Yes.
That's a yes. How long have you had custody of the 2 children?
Since July of last year.
At some point during the marriage, there was a truck purchased.
Yes.
Who purchased the truck?
Dalton purchased the truck. I co-signed for it.
And when was it purchased? Month and year?
June of 2017.
Was that the only car
Yes.
that they had?
Yes.
So that was a family car.
Yes.
And in 2017, was your daughter working?
Yes.
So both parents worked. And both parents, I assume, pooled their money and I assume made car payments.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct? Both. And then they separated in 2020, and at that time the children came to live with you.
Correct.
And you took the truck.
Yes.
By agreement with your now ex-wife.
Yes.
In 2020, who made the car payments?
My husband did.
Is that correct?
Yes. I made all of the car payments on that vehicle. All of them, from the time it was purchased until we paid it off.
Okay, so what you're telling me is from 2017, you made all the car payments.
That's correct.
Did your daughter and son-in-law make any of those payments?
Not directly, but they paid toward the balance of the money that they were.
You paid for the truck
That's correct.
since 2017, since they
correct.
were married,
Yes.
with no reimbursement.
I took payments out of my daughter's check.
Just be very, very careful with me, sir.
Yeah.
I want you to be very careful with me. I read that, what we call in Yiddish, Babameises in here, that you took money out of your daughter's check. Babameises, it means grandma's tale. It means it's not true. It means it doesn't sound right to me. I read it in here. Don't try to repeat it here because that won't be good for you. Okay, I'm going to believe you if you show me copies of her checks that you made to her with withdrawals from money she owed you. That's all I want to see. Do you have that?
I do not.
Not, of course not. Now, he has the truck, and this was clearly either a gift or a marital debt. Either one of those two things. It's either a gift or a marital debt. It was a family car that was used by your daughter, her husband, the grandchildren, with, according to you, no reimbursement, according to you, except this ridiculous reimbursement from your daughter's check, which I don't believe, so I'm not even going into it, with no reimbursement 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. And when your daughter and the defendant separated in 2020, according to him and according to you, he took the truck and the children. And that was with her consent or not?
Yes, it was.
With her consent. Is that so far right? That's what you're telling me.
It's accurate.
Right. Did you intervene in the divorce proceeding and say that there is money owed, marital debt owed, and part of the marital debt is this loan on the truck?
No.
No, no. The answer is no, you did not. It would also be fair to say that you don't know how much, according to you, she paid for the truck.
I do, Your Honor. I have
Well-
that ledger that I have. I would go to her each week and say, Jacqueline, how much can I take toward the loan? And that's how much I would take off each week.
All you have to do, sir, is show me. Otherwise, this is a whole bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
It's a marital debt. You did not intervene in the divorce proceedings and say, listen, this is a debt that's still outstanding, whatever it is, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. You didn't do that. Now, the only thing that you can say to me with regard to this truck business is if you had, had an agreement with the defendant in 2017 to pay the truck. And be very careful, because what you've told me is he didn't make any payments to you from 2017 ever.
He made some payment.
Just a second. Interesting. Show me where he made payments. Did you give him a receipt for payments?
No, this is a small town, and
It's not a small town. It's a family, sir. It's not a small.
I do have the ledger.
I'm not interested in a ledger you created. It's self-serving and therefore inadmissible and created for the purpose solely of this litigation and not created at the same time that the event took place. I might even cut you a little slack if you had a ledger, a book with entries in it at different times from 2017 in different ink, with a day, how much was paid back on the loan. I guarantee you do not have that. You have a very nice piece of white paper that you created for me. Is that correct? That is correct.
That is accurate.
Okay, so I'm not interested in your ledger. That's not a ledger. That's a document prepared for the purposes of litigation. So I want you to tell me what conversation you had and when with Mr. McDonald about paying for the truck.
Caption, coming up.
They bought this boat from you.
Accurate.
And how much did you sell it to them for?
$2,500.
Did they pay you for it?
No, part of that was put on the ledger, and part of it was cash.
You know I'm not buying your whole story.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Herman, Tina, and Dalton.
Herman and Tina Smoody claim their former son-in-law, Dalton McDonald, owes for unpaid loans.
Now, I want you to tell me what conversation you had and when with Mr. McDonald about paying for the truck.
That was from the very beginning because I was paying all their bills.
Just a sec. I don't care whether you were paying their bills. I understand you were paying all their bills because they came to live with you for a brief period of time because they were evicted for whatever reason, and that was sometime in 2016. Okay. So I understand that you were paying their bills. Sometimes that's what parents do. They pay their bills.
We were paying their bills because they had no checking account.
That doesn't matter to me. I want to know your conversations with, where did it take place? Because you're not suing your daughter, you're suing him.
The conversation was when we rented the farm for them, which I know is not with the truck, but the landlord would not let them rent from them because they had terrible credit.
We'll get to the rent later. Stick with the truck. Don't talk to him when I'm asking him questions.
Well, the truck was the same thing. We put that on the ledger then, or on the running total, and they agreed. They both agreed that they were going to pay us off.
Okay.
He came over on Labor Day weekend, and I showed him the ledger, which he saw all the time.
No. Don't tell me what he saw. Don't tell me what he saw. If what you're saying is you showed him the ledger when he came over with the boys,
yes,
and he was going back to Minnesota.
Right.
And he brought the boys to see you to say goodbye?
Correct.
Okay, so far, it's very nice. You have a reasonable relationship with him, and certainly your daughter was clearly overwhelmed because courts do not usually split up children, so they must have felt that the children's best interest would be served if they remained with their father. Clearly what happened, the father came over to you to let you say goodbye to the children, and when he came over to let you say goodbye to the children, let me understand what you're saying to me. What you said to him was, not thank you for taking over this responsibility. Your daughter had more children than she could take care of, physically or financially, right? Clearly.
Yes.
Clearly. So what you want me to believe that two nice people who took in their daughter with her two kids and a husband and bought a truck and made arrangements for them to have some place to live, that these two nice people, when he came over, because your daughter couldn't take care of her children, and he brought them to say goodbye, you said, it's very nice. I want you to take a look at this ledger and see how much money you owe me. That's what you're asking me to believe, right? I'm going to let you live with that fantasy that I believe that.
And so I did give him the balance of what he owed me on the rent.
No.
And on the truck.
Nice.
And
he
he looked me in the eye, he shook my hand and said, Jerry, I promise I'm not going to screw you on this. I'm going to make those payments.
Make payments for what?
On the rent and on the truck.
Okay. Did you have that conversation with him?
No, I did not, Your Honor. The conversation was when I came up there the last time, Jerry was trying to sell his fishing boat, so I posted it on Facebook, and I sold it for him.
In what month and year?
That would have been September of 2020. After selling the boat, he gave me $1,200 for helping him.
How much did he sell the boat for?
It was $4,700.
So that was after you'd already moved?
Correct.
With the children?
Yep.
Okay. He helped you sell the boat for $4,700? Just answer my question.
No.
Did you give him $1,200?
No. He bought that boat from me a year prior to that. He had it.
So they bought this boat from you?
Accurate.
When?
That would have been in the spring of 2019.
And how much did you sell it to them for?
$2,500.
Did they pay you for it?
No, part of that was put on the ledger, and part of it was cash.
You know, I'm not buying your whole story. I'm not buying your whole story because what
Your Honor, I'm telling you the honest to God truth.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that I would have sold people who had no credit, who couldn't buy themselves a truck, so you had to co-sign for the only means of transportation that they had, who couldn't pay for their rent, who couldn't pay their bills because of their bad credit. I don't believe this whole scenario about selling them a leisure boat for $2,500. It's mind-boggling that you would think that an intelligent person like me would accept that. Okay, forget the truck. You have the truck now.
Yes.
Okay. You haven't finished your story with me, so sold the boat, and he gave you $1,200.
Correct. I gave him the $1,200 back, which made us even on the truck payments, and he gave me the title. Tina signed it, and then I brought it back to Minnesota and put it in my name.
Okay. Who signed it?
Tina signed it.
My name was on it as well.
Your name?
Yes.
As joint owners with him?
Yep.
Co-signer.
Oh, interesting. In what month did Mrs. Smoody?
Yes.
Sign over the car to you?
The same day that I gave Jerry the $1,200, that would have been in September.
Now, do you remember the $1,200?
No, it was $1,000 that he paid toward the loan when I sold the boat for him.
Okay.
And it was his boat that I sold for him.
Okay. You did not create this as a marital debt. It absolutely was a marital debt. So I'm dismissing that portion of your claim that deals with the truck. Now, let's deal with the rent. The rent that you're talking about was rent in what property?
The farmhouse that they rented.
From when to when?
2016, November 2020.
And over the years that they lived there as a couple.
Yes.
The rent was paid to a landlord.
Correct.
By you.
Yes.
Is that right?
Correct.
And they, your daughter and her husband, would give you cash, checks, or whatever to cover the rent.
Yep.
Yes.
And how much did they give you to cover the rent?
When we started out, rent was $800, and later on he raised it to $900. We never made it a set amount each week. They gave us what they could. And we've done this before in the past, and they've always paid us back.
Well, then you should have sued them and listed all of this as a marital debt in the process of their divorce. So it could all have been...
We're handling Jacqueline in another way.
You what?
We're handling Jacqueline alone. I
don't understand what that means.
Well, you're saying it was marital.
Just a second. Does that mean that you've already served your daughter with a summons?
Not yet, no.
Of course not. Of course not. And you did know when they were divorcing. Yeah. You did know when they were divorcing. I'm not buying anything of this lawsuit, most of which, at least the rent part, is totally stale. I'm just curious, Mr. and Mrs. Smoody. Somebody wants to answer this question for me. Mr. McDonald has custody of your two young grandsons, who I assume that you were close to because they lived with you in your house. And you seem like
live with us. The two boys came back to live with us.
From when to when?
December of 2021 until July of 2022. 6 months we had them.
Just a second, 2022. Was there a court proceeding?
No.
But then in July they went back with their father.
That's accurate.
And they've been with their father since?
Yes.
Okay, so the boys lived with you for 6, 7 months.
Right.
Was that an acrimonious transfer?
Caption coming up.
That's what you meant when you said any employer that has gone through all that paperwork and red tape, as I have, will do anything to avoid it. The anything is firing the employee.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Herman, Tina, and Dalton.
Herman and Tina Smoody are accusing their former son-in-law, Dalton McDonald, of refusing to pay back loans.
Was that an acrimonious transfer, or was it something that you both...
What happened there was he called my husband to see if
No, don't tell me what he said to your husband.
Okay,
I will tell you then. He called me in December and asked me if I would please take the two boys. I told him, I will take them, Dalton, if you start making regular payments.
Oh, well, we're out of the money business now, sir. What you're saying is from 2017, when the children were in his custody, your daughter may have been there, but they were in joint custody, and then he maintained custody of the children, and during the time he maintained custody of the children, there was no question whatsoever that he was not paying you back money. He did not make any payments to you. Occasional here and there, we don't keep records. All of a sudden, now you have the boys with you. And then in July, he comes back and he takes the boys back. All I asked you was whether that was an acrimonious, which is an unpleasant, or a harmonious transfer of the children. Mr. Smoody was in July.
In July, it was acrimonious because at that point, he'd gotten a restraining order against me.
Against you?
Against me while we had the children. Because I sent him a letter saying that I wanted payment, and he went and got a restraining order against me because they took that as a threat.
I'd like to see the letter, please, Kevin.
Herman hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
And this is what needs to happen moving forward.
That's correct.
You need to mail me $200 on the 1st of every month and $200 on the 15th, starting March 1st, 2022. If I do not get these payments on time, the following will happen, which is, you know, you could say, I'm going to sue you, right? I'm going to sue you, but that's not what you say. You say, I will go to your boss and talk to them about garnishing your wages. Any employer that has gone through all the paperwork and red tape as I have will do anything to avoid it. So that's a threat. What you're saying is, I'm going to call your boss and tell him that I'm going to sue you, and then your boss is going to have to go through all the red tape of what it means to have a garnish on your salary. You have to go through accounting, and they have to deduct it. And no boss wants to do that, which is in effect say, so either you pay me or your boss is going to fire you. That's what you meant when you said, any employer that has gone through all that paperwork and red tape, as I have, will do anything to avoid it. The anything is firing the employee. The only thing that...
You can legally fire somebody.
Just a second. Whether you can legally fire them or not, that's what you were threatening. That's what that said. So we got an order of protection against you.
Correct.
And?
Then I didn't fight it because I didn't anticipate having any conversations or contact with him.
When you wrote this letter,
yes,
you had the boys.
Yes.
Right. Not before.
No.
Not before. And he had had the boys for some time alone.
3 months.
He had had the boys for some time alone. Okay, let's go back to my original question, which was, when the boys went back to their father, was it acrimonious or harmonious?
It was not good.
Well, so tell me your version of what happened.
The reason it was acrimonious is because he knew very well that once we got him, we put him on a strict schedule. 8 o'clock, brush your teeth, 8:15, pajamas, 8:30, bed.
Where was your daughter living at this time?
With us.
Yeah, just to say, if you're going to interrupt him because you want to get it out,
I'm sorry,
that's not going to be good for you.
She had a room at our house.
Just a second. So your daughter was living with you. So what you're telling me was your daughter was in the wind someplace.
Accurate.
Okay. You know, you had her for a long time. He only had her for 5 years. And I can understand the sadness if your daughter is in the wind and not being responsible, sir. But that doesn't mean he has to shoulder all the burden. Right now, he's shouldering all the burden of supporting the 2 children, which I assume you're doing. They're living with you. And so are you working?
Yes, I am.
And he's working. Your daughter is not.
She's working 2 jobs.
She always has.
If she's working 2 jobs, why was she in a room?
She wasn't renting. She was living there free.
Okay. So now let's get back to this acrimonious transfer by the children back in July.
Dalton called me, or called the kids.
Okay, so he called the children.
After bedtime.
Okay.
Called my wife's phone 4 times. Ring, 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 ring. And she wouldn't answer because kids were in bed. And then he called my phone twice. The second time, I have an old flip phone. I flipped it, walked in, because now I hear the boys are awake. I let them talk to the boys. And then I took the phone back, and I said some naughty things to him and hung it up.
What did you say naughty things to him for?
Because I was very angry at him. Can I use some swear words that I used when I told him?
No, I assume you used some terrible words.
Yeah,
but
I just told him, don't call me anymore.
Is there any reason that you discussed with your wife why she didn't answer the phone?
Because the boys were already in bed. He had done that before.
You already told me that you heard the boys, so you took the phone into his room.
After the phone calls, they woke up.
Is what you're telling me that the first time that he tried to talk to the boys, that you or your wife didn't answer the phone?
I think it probably happened once or twice prior, and then we told him, don't do it anymore.
Okay, fine.
And this time we were fed up.
Fine. So that's when he said, I'm coming to take the boys.
No. No.
Well, when did he say he was coming to take the boys?
Not until July. Jacqueline told us that Dalton was going to be taking the kids once they got out of school.
Okay, I'm going to take the pain out of this case, and I'm going to do it relatively quickly. I think, Mr. and Mrs. Smoody, that this lawsuit was very ill-advised. The defendant doesn't owe you any money. He doesn't owe you any money because if there was money owed, it was a marital debt, and it should have been taken up at the time of the divorce, listed as a marital debt, and then it could have been fixed by the judge who approved the divorce. how much and by whom is owed money. You chose not to do that. It was only after a very acrimonious set of circumstances, roughly 5.5 years later, after this truck was purchased, that you chose to exercise any prerogatives with regard to a debt, except this letter, which threatens to go to his boss to get him fired if you don't stop making payments, and that was only after the 2 children came to live with you and were sort of overwhelmed. You have to understand, Mr. McDonald, who I think probably is trying, he's got the 2 boys. It got very complicated, but it's not a lawsuit, and I would make nice with him. He's got 2 children that you probably want to have some connection with, and this lawsuit certainly doesn't help that. Well, anyway, for all the reasons that I've stated, your lawsuit's dismissed. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Herman.
He owes us that money. He admitted he owed us the money.
I think the judge was absolutely correct.
He promised he was going to pay us the money back.
I don't owe Jerry any money.
Kids are irresponsible, have no sense of honor, duty, respect, responsibility, nothing.
It really should be a family thing, and maybe one day it can go back to it.
This was a great case that explains why a lot of cases in civil court have a statute of limitations before you can bring a certain kind of case, because here it was hard for us to understand why they would not have requested that money back earlier. So when you ask for it now, years down the line where so much has happened, court's not so likely to
attack your chihuahua.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1106, Burrow Threlkel versus Soifer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Threlkel, how long have you lived across the street from each other?
We don't live across the street from one another.
You live on the same side?
Yes.
How long have you been living in your home?
31 years.
And Mr. Soifer, how long have you been living in your house?
I closed on it May 7th of this year.
Ms. Threlkel, are you immediately adjacent to the defendant, or are you separated by a house?
We're separated by 6 homes.
Do you happen to have a photograph?
Yes, I actually do.
Of the house? I'd like to take a look at it.
I have them according to the order.
Karen hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She looks at them.
Oh, so there's a good deal of distance between the 2 houses.
Yes, ma'am. Mine is the very last one.
This is your house?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Soifer, this is what her complaint is, and this is what she's asking for. Ms. Threlkel says that a dog that belongs to you got out of your house, which is 6 houses away from hers, and somehow got into her house through a doggy door. What kind of dog do you have?
A pit bull mix.
How much does it weigh?
35, 40 pounds.
And what kind of dogs do you have?
I have a Chihuahua and 2 miniature schnauzers.
So relatively small dogs?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is your daughter. She was involved in that incident that day. Somehow, your dog got loose from your control for whatever reason, got in to the defendant's house, inside her house, and inside her house, your dog attacked one of her dogs, causing serious injury to that dog and making a mess in the house in the process because there was blood all over the place. It was a mess. In order to try to get your dog back while this was going on, your daughter, from your house, because you had just come in, according to you, from unloading paintings that you had just bought for the house, your door was open. That's how the dog got out. You say the dog was chasing her dogs that were out in the street. I don't care. Her dogs didn't come into your house. From your house, your daughter ran after your dog and tried to get into the house by crawling through the doggy door. So far, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You can stand up.
Mark's daughter, Naomi.
She crawled in through the doggy door, couldn't get all the way through, but was able to reach up and open the door from the latch, which allowed the door to open. Is that what happened?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you got inside Miss Threlkel's house, what did you see?
I didn't actually go inside the house.
Where did you see your dog?
As soon as I opened the door, she ran out towards the other dog.
Her other dog was in the yard?
Yes.
Did you see the dog that had been injured inside the house?
Yes.
What kind of dog was it?
I'm pretty sure Chihuahua.
Did you see blood?
Yes, ma'am.
How did your dog get out of Miss Threlkell's house?
Through the door.
After you opened it?
Yes, ma'am.
So you opened the door. Did you go back out through the doggy door?
Yes.
And then you walked into the house?
No, I did not go inside the house.
The dog, when you opened the door, ran out?
Yes, ma'am.
And you saw in the house the Chihuahua with blood?
Yes, ma'am.
And then, according to you, you saw your dog go after the other dog?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of dog was the other dog?
I have no idea.
Was it a small dog or a big dog?
Small dog.
So, that was probably one of the miniature schnauzers.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see what your dog did to the miniature schnauzer?
No, ma'am.
Where was your father?
He was at the gate, but he was not able to get inside the yard.
He was at the gate?
Mm-hmm.
How did you get inside?
I went through the gate because it was wide open.
Okay, so you went in through the gate. And did you see why your father couldn't get into the gate?
Karen wouldn't let him in the backyard with my sister.
Oh, so he was with your sister?
Yes, ma'am.
So he came running after your dog to her house and she wouldn't let him in the yard?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Was the schnauzer injured?
Yes, but I didn't realize he...
Did the schnauzer go to the vet or just the
No.
Chihuahua?
Just a Chihuahua.
And it's the Chihuahua's vet bills and whatever damage was done inside your house that you want Mr. Seufer to pay for.
And the doggy door, when they went...
And if the doggy door was damaged, that would have been as a result of this young lady trying to go through the doggy door.
Mm-hmm. And my pain and suffering.
The only one that's pained and suffering right now is me.
Caption coming up.
Your dog was out of your control for 3 times the width of this courtroom into her house. What do you think could possibly be a defense for that?
And later today.
I ask you that question because I bought my husband a trike for a big birthday. He thought I was actually trying to kill him.
2 men grin. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Karen, Mark, and Naomi.
Karen Burrow Threlkeld claims her neighbor, Mark Seufer, owes for vet bills and property damage after his pit bull attacked her Chihuahua. Mark is countersuing for negligence.
Mr. Seufer, you have no defense. Do you understand? You have no defense to the fact that your dog was out of your control, entered her home, injured her dog, your daughter, in an attempt to get back the dog, damaged her doggy door by trespassing in her house. Your suggestion that it's her fault because her dogs were free without a leash, if her dogs had caused any damage to your home, if they were out without a leash, I would say, well, I'm going to hear that. But even if they were outside without a leash, that's not a defense for your dog. Your dog, much bigger, much more potentially aggressive, to be out of your control and to run 6 houses down into her house. Do you understand that?
I would say that it's not 6, but 3 houses. No,
Who cares?
I also
How many
think
houses separate yours from hers?
3.
3. So the dog ran 3 houses away.
Yes.
And your daughter ran 3 houses away. This is not next door. This isn't a common driveway. Was out of your control for 3 times the width of this courtroom, at least. Probably 6 out of your control into her house. What do you think could possibly be a defense for that?
Well, I think it's also relevant that police issued citations not to me, but to my neighbor.
Then they were stupid.
The animal control officer who showed
Don't
up.
tell me what an animal control officer told you. I'm telling you, you bought your home, sir?
Yes.
So you have homeowners insurance.
Yes.
In what state do you live?
Missouri.
Missouri?
Yes.
Did your insurance carrier ask you if you had a pit bull?
No.
Really? What insurance carrier do you have?
Originally it was USAA, then became Safeco. I don't know which carrier on this date was my insurer.
No, I'm just asking you, sir.
Yes.
Where in Missouri?
Veneta Park.
What's the county?
St. Louis County.
St. Louis County, Missouri. Do you have anything interesting from St. Louis County, Missouri?
I'll let you know.
Okay. She's going to get back to me. So what you're telling me is, in Missouri, insurance carriers on homeowners insurance don't ask you if you have a dog, what kind. That's what you're telling me.
Well, I've now had 2 different insurance carriers for that property, and neither asked me that question. And I don't recall them asking for the home that I sold prior to moving into that one, which was also in the same county.
I have a couple of homeowners insurance policies in several states. Every single one asked me if I had a dog and if I did, what kind. Maybe they don't in Missouri. That's a possibility. You have heard of that, have you not?
Yes.
Sure, because some insurance carriers say we're not going to cover you if you have this kind of a dog that's on our dangerous dog list, right?
Yes, there's a municipal stigma typically.
It's not a municipal stigma. It's that some insurance carriers will not insure you if you have a particular kind of dog, or they charge you an excessive premium if you have that kind of a dog. You have heard of that, sir?
Yes.
Did you ever hear of a Chihuahua being on that list?
No.
How about a miniature Schnauzer?
No.
But you have heard of a pit bull being on that list?
Yes.
So you know what that means? That means if you have a pit bull or...
Sorry.
Yes, excuse me.
There's a city ordinance actually for that exact town that says section 205-215, keeping or possessing a pit bull dog. No person within the city raise, maintain, possess within his or her custody or control of a dog of the pit bull breed.
Did you know that?
No.
She's going to read it to you again.
No person within the city raise, maintain, or possess within his or her custody or control a dog of the pit bull breed.
And it says just that one dog? Or is it more than that one?
It says pit bull breed is defined to mean any dog descending from the following bloodlines, and it lists a list of dogs.
Now do you understand, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So that means, and you seem like an intelligent man, and your daughter is actually very truthful, for which your name is Naomi?
Yes, ma'am.
Naomi. Naomi's a truthful young lady. Well, what that means as an owner of the pit bull, A, what you're doing is against the law, according to your city ordinance. But more than that, if you have a dog that you know has been identified as potentially dangerous, you can't let a door open and let that dog get out. And there is certainly zero defense for your dog getting out and going into her house and severely injuring her dog. There's no excuse for that. And now that you know and that you're on notice that what you're doing is against the law, so that means that the police that responded to your house and the animal control officer who responded to your house, they didn't know what the ordinance said. You're not making that up, are you, Sarah?
No.
No. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
But giving her a citation, to me, means zero. How much were your vet bills?
$1,369.49.
And what was the damage to the interior of the house?
The interior of the house is just my maintenance and cleaning it up.
No. And what did it cost to fix the doggy door?
$715.43. $715.57.
That's $2,074. Did you ask the defendant for payment?
Yes.
Did you ask him in person or by phone, or did you send him a letter, a text, a note?
I actually put a copy of the bill in his mailbox, and then on July the 3rd, I tried to talk to Mark, and he told me at that time that the police and animal control told him not to speak to me, and if I come back to his house, for him to call them and I will be arrested. So I left it alone and filed my suit.
Smart. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yes. So they suggested that...
Don't tell me what they suggested to you. I'm telling you, I just took the facts directly as they were relayed from your daughter, sir. I don't know what you told the police, and I don't know what you told animal control.
Caption coming up.
Did you return it?
I returned, if not more of it.
Oh, show me.
I just deposited into the account.
Were there any deposits made into the account by the defendant?
No, ma'am.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Karen, Mark, and Naomi.
Karen Burrow-Threlkeld claims her neighbor, Mark Seufer, owes for vet bills and property damage after his pit bull attacked her chihuahua. Mark is countersuing for negligence.
Now, you have more than ludicrous counterclaim for harassment and for her negligence in letting her dogs be outside unsupervised. Judging for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,074. Good girl. Got it. Good thing to be honest. Always. We're done. I would think twice about keeping that dog, sir. It's against the law.
Court is adjourned.
Mark is interviewed, then Karen.
Well, it did become kind of a traumatic experience.
When Mark stated that I received a citation, I didn't.
Work that amicably by avoiding each other at the very least.
Actually, I just wanted Mark to know I forgive him
They saw the violence up close, I didn't.
and that we're going to be neighbors.
Judy and Sarah.
You know what was most disturbing to me about that case, and actually you earned your money on that case, is that if what he says is accurate, that both the police came and animal control, and the ordinance that you read was clear, and that to have done nothing in that scenario is actually outrageous.
Case number 1066, Godard versus Tekachenko. All parties, please step forward.
Michael Godard is suing fellow biker Elrad Tikachenko for money and property taken from their biker club.
Mr. Goddard.
Yes, ma'am.
You ride motorcycles?
Yes, ma'am.
2 wheels or 3?
2.
I ask you that question because I bought my husband a trike for a big birthday. He thought I was actually trying to kill him.
Michael and Elrad grin.
So did all of our friends think that I was trying to kill him. He's allowed to ride it within the development. He's not allowed to take it outside in 2-lane traffic. Every once in a while, the family catches him coming around the garage when he thinks nobody's looking to go to the bank. I find those things a little frightening. How long have you been riding a motorcycle, Mr. Goddard?
Approximately 48 years.
Pronounce your last name for me.
Tkachenko.
Tachenko.
Tkachenko.
Let's do Mr. T. That will make it easy.
That's how I was called in school, Your Honor.
Mr. T. But this, you have a little group.
Yes, ma'am.
How many people are in this little biking group?
Currently, there are 5.
And Mr. T was a recent inductee in the group. He was made the treasurer of the group. Your complaint alleges that as the treasurer of this group, he misappropriated some funds from the treasury.
Yes, ma'am.
How much?
$120.77.
And you're suing him for $661. That has to do with some patches that he has.
Yes, ma'am.
Allegedly. Club patches.
Yes, ma'am.
How did he come into custody of these club patches?
As part of the treasurer's function, he's also responsible for the unassigned patches, which he would either give to people that were going to be inducted in.
Well, there are only 5 people there now.
secure
How many patches did he have?
3 main patches and other little ones that go with it. It's 3 sets. Each set contains 6 patches.
Do you have those patches?
I do, Your Honor.
Great. But would you give them to me? I want to see what he's looking at. And was he voted out? He was voted in the club, and then you voted him out of
These
the
are
club.
all
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll take them all.
It's just all.
We'll take them all. Perfect.
Patches.
Perfect.
Yep. Thank you.
And you're not the club treasurer anymore, is that right?
From what I understand, no.
Okay, so give him the patches back. Now Mr. Goddard has the patches. So now we're talking about $120.77. You had a credit card that belonged to the company? That belonged to the club?
To the club, yes, I
And
did.
according to your answer, at least, you didn't have your own credit card once. You ran into an emergency and you used the card for some personal expenses.
I did.
What personal expenses did you use them for?
It was like some purchases at local stores. I honestly just ran out of cash that day, so I used it.
Okay. He says you used it to the extent of $120.77.
I thought it was somewhere around $100, 120 some.
Did you return it?
I returned, if not more of it, because.
Oh, show me.
I did. I just deposited into the account.
Were there any deposits made into the account
No,
by the defendant?
No, ma'am.
Then you can show me, Mr. T, proof if you have it, that you deposited money. All right.
I paid it all back, yeah, and that's why this
120
entire episode was
you acknowledge that you used their card for about the same amount as the plaintiff says that was withdrawn, which was $120.77, which he has proof of, I'm certain. Kevin, would you get that and show that to Sarah, please? She can just verify the amounts that I assume add up to $120.77.
It looks about right, but I could do the math for you. There's a lot of little charges, like 15 or some odd charges.
You've added it up, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
120.77?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, 121.77.
Okay. And there's no proof of repayment. So you have your patches?
Yes, ma'am.
120.77, or what else do you?
He has materials, ledgers, account books.
Okay, are all those there?
That's all here, ma'am.
Elred hands a ledger to Kevin, who gives it to Michael.
Oh, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you have them back.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is our work here done?
Yes.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff, 120.77. Everything else has been returned. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
It was something that I did use.
I'm pleased with the decision. I'm glad that the judge could see the truth.
That I did repay.
If he engages in any other club, he'll do the right thing.
Obviously, I don't have proof of it, so it goes against me.
You cannot get any respect from other clubs and the general community if you show any dishonesty.
I don't expect to be part of that club in any way, shape, or form.
Judy.
Just in case anybody thinks that I am not a truth teller.
Sarah Hansberry are suing car seller Michelle Maley for the cost of a vehicle and repairs.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Kevin.
Hello. Case number 1126, Moon Hansberry versus Maley.
Thank you. How did you find this car, Mr. Moon?
Facebook Marketplace.
Have you ever purchased a car by Facebook before?
No, ma'am.
Did you know the defendant before you purchased her car?
No, ma'am.
Where do you live? In what jurisdiction?
Minnesota.
And you live in Minnesota as well?
Correct.
You live close to each other, I assume.
Within a half an hour.
That's pretty close. What kind of car was it?
It's a 2011 Chevy Avail.
And what was the purchase price you agreed to?
$1,200.
Is that correct?
It was $1,300.
On what date did you go and look at the car?
July 15th.
When she listed the car, what did she list the car for?
$1,300.
How much money did you bring with you?
I brought $1,300.
How much did you give her?
$1,200.
Tell me why.
Because it was an older car, it had higher mileage, so I talked her down on the price.
But you gave her $1,200.
Yes, ma'am.
Not $8.
No.
Did you take the money out of the bank?
No, I had another vehicle. I took over a title loan against it.
You took a title loan against another car?
My other car, yes.
When did you do that?
July 13th.
Can I see proof of that, please?
Sarah Hansberry hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She puts on her reading glasses, then reviews a financial document.
You took out a loan for $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have to pay them back $12,220.
That's 330% interest rate on the loan.
Well, the annual percentage rate is 107.7%.
Yep.
What other bills do you have to pay?
Rent, utilities, food.
What happened to this car?
Right now it's in Wisconsin. I still have it.
You still paying this loan?
Yes.
You took the car on the 15th. Let us assume that you paid her $1,200 for the car. She was asking $1,300.
Right.
I'll get to the middle of the story in a second. I'm going to the end of the story. You resold the car. To whom?
Her name was Naomi. I don't know her last name offhand.
Where did you find her?
On Craigslist, I believe. I posted the car after we took it back.
On what date?
We took the car back August 20th, so I'm guessing probably August 22nd, 21st, right after I took the car back.
How much were you asking for the car?
$1,300.
And how much did she pay you for the car?
I think she gave us $1,300.
You have to understand, if I determine that he gave you $1,200, you have to give him his money back. You understand that?
Initially, yes, but there was expenses that I had.
I don't give a rat's behind about your expenses. You're not going to sell the car for $2,500 or $2,600. That's worth $12,000.
Agreed.
If you took the car back from him for whatever reason, you're going to let me know what the reason is. You can't sell the same car twice. Okay, so now you're going to tell me what happened with the car.
I drove back and forth to work a couple times, and in the midst of working an 8-hour shift, the car went dead. I had to get it jumped.
Okay, on what date was that?
10 days after that we had purchased it, so it was the 25th that he realized the problems, because I remember the phone
Just
call
a
he
second.
made.
And this car doesn't have any guarantees, warranties, anything else? You bought a used car, you bought an old car for $1,200. 10 days later, it stopped running. You know, she's not responsible for that, right?
Yes.
Right.
You agree?
Yes.
Okay, so what happened next?
The next day, jumped it, took it home, and within an hour sitting in the parking lot where we lived, it was dead. It was an electrical issue.
Okay.
So I rented a U-Haul and towed it 5 hours down to my mechanic, because we've been friends 20 years. He fixed it. He called me, told me it was done. But between the kids being in school and me working, we couldn't get down there right away to pick it up.
How much later?
A couple weeks.
It was approximately probably a month later, because it was right after I had had surgery, and that was part of what was taking up time.
Okay, so now it's at least a month and a half since you purchased this car.
Yes.
Okay, and so you went and picked it up.
We went down there, and we pulled in the parking lot, and Sarah said, "Where's the car?" So I went inside the shop, and my mechanic came out and told me that Miss Mackey came and picked it up, paid the bill and picked the car up and took it back home.
Ball's in your court.
On the 6th day after he had the car, I think July 21st, he texted me and told me that be prepared because I'm going to get $400 in parking tickets in your name. You sold me a lemon.
May I see that, please?
Yes, you sure can.
4 days later, you didn't have trouble with the car 4 days later.
So it was 6 days. So it was the 15th they bought it. On the 21st was this first message from him. And so this is when they bought the car, and then that's when the message started with he's going to...
Michelle hands her phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews a text exchange.
Did you check out the lemon law in Minnesota? Sure. What do you think the lemon law in Minnesota is, sir?
I really don't have any idea.
What did you mean when you threatened her you will be getting $400 worth of parking tickets in the mail?
I said it over anger. I contacted her by phone and told her that the car is having electrical issues, and can you please do something to help me? Her comment was, "You bought the car from me. It's not my issue. It's your issue now."
She's right, unless Minnesota has a private lemon law.
So it was created to protect when you buy or lease a car that is still under the original manufacturer's warranty, not intended to eliminate all problems you'll ever encounter with your vehicle or from private parties. But if the private party, if it was still under manufacturer's warranty, it's
well, not a $1,200 car.
Exactly.
Okay, so you bought the car as is, you were having trouble, you drove the car home, you drove the car to work a few times, and what you did was you did not register the car in your name, even though she had given you the title and the papers, and you threatened her that since the car was still in her name, you were going to leave it all over town and get parking tickets, which would have affected her. Right. You expect me to help you?
Joshua and Hansberry nod. Caption coming up.
She said, "I'll give you the money back for the car." And you said no.
We had had the car at the mechanic at that point.
I don't care where you had the car. She offered you your money back for the car.
And later today,
Mr. Chavez says you gave him the car. You may have been a little drunk when you gave him the car, but you gave him the car, and then when he wouldn't give it back to you, you vandalized it.
A man shakes his head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Joshua Hansberry and Michelle.
Joshua Moon and Sarah Hansberry claim car seller Michelle Maley sold them a lemon that needed repairs. Michelle says they did not change the registration to their names after owning the car for weeks.
You expect me to help you?
I don't know.
Can I speak, please?
Sure.
So Josh originally had called Miss Millie and said, "There's a problem with the car. Can you tell us what's going on?" She had said, "No, there's not supposed to be any problems. I don't know of anything about this. You bought the car. It's up to you." So we had said, "Okay, fine."
No, you didn't say, "Okay, fine."
No, I found out he had sent the text, and I talked to him. And I said, "We need to call and find out what's going on." And so that's when we called and found out. And
Found out what?
And found out that there had been no problems. It was then that we decided we were going to take it down to go get looked at. And she at one point had told us that she would give us the money back for the car. If we were to give her the car back, we said, no, we want to register it. We're going to register it.
Oh, just a minute. So she said, I'll give you the money back for the car.
Mm-hmm.
And you said no.
We had had the car at the mechanic at that point.
I don't care where you had the car. She offered you your money back for the car.
Oh, hang on, let me find.
Can I say one other thing? No.
You were, in effect, making her a guarantor for the car by not registering it in your name so that if you got tickets or anything else, it would be in her name. She would be the one who was penalized.
Yes, and
yes?
we had,
yes.
When we,
Good. You just made yourself an extra $1,200.
No, we had, when we brought it down to the mechanics, then we had contacted her after saying we wanted to switch the title over. We went to the DMV to switch the title, and we're told that she had...
You can't tell me what anybody told you. That's all hearsay. You had the car from the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. He drove it to work several times. You had the car in the mechanic for a month. You still had the title. You were still capable of transferring the title.
This is the title that she gave us. And on the back, it states where she signed it for the $1,200 that we paid her. And their name. And we took it to the DMV to transfer it into our name and found out that she had called 11 days after we purchased the vehicle and requested a new title so we could not transfer it into our name.
Oh, well, that's possible. That's after your husband's text.
Well, then we contacted her to meet us at the DMV so we could...
On what date? You bought the car July 15th. July 16th, it should have been registered. 17th, it should have been registered. 18th, it should have been registered. 19th, it should have been registered.
I even offered to pay for the title transfer so that they would get it out of my name.
We went to the DMV and waited for her a number of times. I'm getting it. It was...
Whatever it is, you didn't get the car out of her name when you were supposed to. You threatened her to encumber her license and her other vehicles when you had no right to do that. She can't fully benefit, but you put her through a lot of difficulty. She had to go, retrieve the car, resell it. There's no question that everybody agrees, at least that you gave her $1,200 for the car, and you have to pay her for some of her trouble. Because the trouble was caused by you.
I had to pay the mechanic to get the car out. It was just...
How much did you pay?
It was just a brake pedal sensor. It wasn't an electrical issue. It was like a small fix, but his mechanic charged $291.55.
$300, so that's $900. And you had to go to the mechanic, and how far is the mechanic? He took it to a mechanic that he liked.
5.5 hours away.
5.5 hours away, so you drove 5.5 hours one way and 5.5 hours the other way?
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes, it was a long drive in Wisconsin.
You get nothing. Your case is dismissed. We're over.
Court is adjourned.
Hansberry, then Michelle.
I definitely think it could have been handled better.
I think that she's a smart woman and always gets it right.
I think we should at least get money back for the car because we don't have the car.
No, it was a good car. I missed that car.
Judy.
I'm wondering whether it would be wise to put in that bill of sale that the car must be registered in your name within 48 hours, or the seller can reclaim the car and retain the purchase price, which gives you some incentive to do it, because otherwise, you as the seller, if someone like these people did not change the registration for over a month, if that car is in an accident and hurts somebody, well, they're going to sue the driver, but they're also going to sue the owner of the car successfully. Good lesson.
Kevin.
Case number 1162, Hagen versus Chavez. Please step forward.
Harris Hagen is suing his former friend, Johnny Chavez, for the cost of a car.
Mr. Hagen, you purchased a car. Did you purchase it at auction?
No, I purchased it from a friend of mine.
What kind of car was it?
It was a Saturn Vue.
What year?
2005.
How much did you pay him for it?
I paid $600 for it.
Your complaint is that Mr. Chavez stole the car.
Yes.
In effect, Mr. Chavez says you gave him the car. You may have been a little drunk when you gave him the car, But you gave him the car, and then when he wouldn't give it back to you, you vandalized it. So he's got a cross complaint. That's what the case is about, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now I'm going to go to you, Mr. Chavez. Now I know he bought the car in August of this year. He paid $600 for it. You went out drinking on what night?
I'm not sure what night, Your Honor.
Figure it out. Was it August, September, October?
September.
So it was within a month of him getting the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was on a Saturday night.
I think it was a Saturday, yes.
Well, let's be sure. Sarah, what are the dates in September on Saturday night? We're not talking about a year ago. We're talking about a month ago.
The 4th.
Okay, Mr. Chavez, was it the 4th of September?
Yes, it was.
That sound right?
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Okay, now, do you remember how Mr. Chavez got into possession of the car?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about it.
Eris shakes his head. Caption coming up.
You just finished the story. This
That was
whole
the second
long
offer of the
story
car.
that wasn't in here.
Second
that
offer
you
of the
made
car.
up that you made up a price with him.
That was the
you were
first
gonna.
offer.
Don't try to talk
Well,
over
you're not
me.
listening.
Don't try to talk over me.
Johnny furrows his brow. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Eris and Johnny.
Eris Hagen claims his former friend, Johnny Chavez, owes for the cost of a car. Johnny is countersuing, claiming Eris vandalized the vehicle in revenge.
Okay. Do you remember how Mr. Chavez got into possession of the car?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about it.
Well, I told him at first that I wanted to sell the car. He goes, I have a friend that might want to buy it. He goes, can I show it to him? I said, yeah, you can. I go, title's in the glove box. Just in case you get pulled over.
Slowly, so I can hear you.
Just in case you get pulled over, you have the title, so you have possession of the vehicle,
So you hadn't transferred the title to your name?
Not at the time, no.
Did he tell you his friend's name?
Teresa.
Who's Teresa?
She is a friend of mine.
What does Teresa do?
I take care of Teresa. She's blind, so there's no way she was gonna buy a car.
When you say you take care of her, what do you do for her?
I help her get things. I give her rides to the store.
Do you get paid for doing that by
I don't.
any governmental
I do not.
agency?
I do not.
What car do you use to take her?
I used my Dodge Magnum. The engine has blowing on it, so when Eris came to me about a car, it was the perfect time.
Oh, you didn't have a car at that time. So it was a perfect time for you to
shop for a car, yes.
To shop around for a car.
Absolutely.
For Teresa, because you were doing her business.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, somebody take out the title, whoever has the title, and hand it to Kevin.
Johnny hands a document to Kevin.
Thank you. Kevin, why don't you just go back to your spot and hold on to that. So now you look at the car and he says to you, I know somebody who might need that. He says it was Teresa. You say it was Teresa. He knows Teresa. He takes care of Teresa. And his car had blown, so he didn't have a vehicle. So it was a perfect time for him. That's what he says. And what do you say to him?
I said, yes, you can show her the car. He said it was her and her friend, because I knew she was blind. So I was like, well, how is she going to buy the car, but her friend.
So you knew she was blind?
Yes.
So when he said he would be interested, did you quote him a price?
I did.
What price did you quote him?
I said $3,000.
Well, you had the car for a relatively short period of time. You hadn't transferred the title. What did you do to the car?
I did an oil change on it, and that's when I noticed that it needed some front-end work. And I told him, you can show her the car, but I need it back immediately because I have to repair the front end.
Mr. Hagen, you paid $600 for the car. You did an oil change, so that cost $30. It needed other work on the car that you said you wanted it back to do. But at the time you gave it to him, the car that you paid for was $600.
Correct.
That's all I want to know. And he was supposed to show the car to Teresa's friend.
Correct.
And then what happened?
I went back to Eris and asked him what he wanted for it and would he do payments.
And?
Never got an answer.
And?
I still was in possession of the vehicle, which therefore I came at him with a proposition for myself.
A proposition for yourself that?
So I could buy the car.
And?
He agreed to it.
Great. For how much?
I said I would pay $500 a month until it was paid off. I wanted to give him an extra $1,000 for it because he was doing it with the payments. So I wanted to give him $4,000 for the car in total.
Well, he had just paid $600 for it. He hadn't done any work on it.
I did not know that.
Well, that's what he paid for it.
I know now.
That's what he paid for it.
He also did say he did not want to sell it to a friend. I didn't know what he meant by that, but that's what he said. I did not know. So he wouldn't tell me what he got it for, is what he's saying.
So just a minute. So tell me, Mr. Chavez, you agreed to make payments.
I did.
And you took the car.
I did.
And he signed over the title.
He did.
And you had the car. Did you make the payments?
I have not paid him yet. We agreed on a payment.
Mr. Chavez, you know how dumb some people are? It's always mind-boggling to me, Sarah, how dumb some people are. I want to just read Mr. Chavez's answer. We'd been friends for a year. My car broke down. I was looking for one. He recently bought one for $600. We were drinking, but he seemed of sound mind. He said that since he could not drive the car and I needed one, he would give me the car. He just asked if I would drive him around until he got his license back. He gave me the keys and signed the title over to me. The next day, he showed up at my house yelling and banging at my door.
Fact, but...
Well, that's your signature, sir.
No, that was after the
That's
fact.
your signature, sir. And that's what you
That was the second
You said,
initial.
hey, don't try to talk over me.
There was two offers to
you
the car.
didn't
Okay, that was the second
remember.
one.
You just finished the story. This
That was
whole
the second
long
offer of the
story
car.
that wasn't in here, that you made up a price with him.
That was the
you were
first
gonna,
offer.
Don't try to talk
Well,
over
you're not
me.
listening.
Don't try to talk over me.
You're not listening.
Now, I'm going to get back to you, Mr. Hagan. Would you do me a favor, please? Go over to him and show him where to sign the title back over to Mr. Hagan.
I will not.
You will not?
No.
Okay, very good. Do you recall?
He gave me the car.
Do you recall how much money you were going to receive for being in court today?
No.
You don't know.
No, I don't.
You will not get any.
I don't know.
I'm
I
telling
didn't know
you,
I wasn't going to get anything anyways.
You will not get any.
Okay.
You will not.
He
get
gave me
any.
a car.
Just a second. May I have the title, please?
Kevin hands the title to Judy.
Now, I'm going to give this to you, together with an order that I have determined that this car belongs to you. Do you understand?
I do, Your Honor.
You can take that to the Department of Motor Vehicles. It will provide them with notice because he has signed a document today when he was in court that he agreed to abide by my judgment. So I'm going to give you an order that this is your car and that they are to issue you a new title to this car. Then you can call the police and have him arrested. Do you understand if he refuses to give you your car back?
I do.
Not his car.
Do you understand?
I do.
I don't care if he understands. Do you understand?
I understand.
Kevin, would you give him a copy of this, please? Thank you very much. We will have an order for you by the end of the day. Do you understand?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Very good. Your counterclaim for vandalism is dismissed. We're done.
Court is adjourned.
Harris, then Johnny.
I got my car back.
He's giving me money here and there. I wanted to be nice to him and return the favor.
He just liked it so much that he wanted to keep it.
How can I steal something that he gave me a title to?
Sarah and Judy.
That case brought up one of your favorite sayings. If you tell the truth.
Former girlfriend and the mother of their daughter, Ginger Gibbons, for wrongful eviction and the value of his property.
Court come to order.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1160, Eber versus Gibbons.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, Mr. Eber.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, there's a saying about somebody who doesn't learn from experience. They keep making the same mistake over and over and over again. And I read your complaint. You and the defendant had a long-standing relationship only through the fact that you made a child together. That child is now how old?
6.
Every once in a while, you sort of float in, and then you fight with her, and she kicks you out. And you stay out for a few months, and then she lets you back in, right?
Right.
And you're together for a little bit, and you have a fight, and she kicks you out. And then you're out, and you live in your truck, you stay with friends, whatever it is. And then
Judy makes a waking gesture with her hands.
you come back. According to your complaint, probably happened more often, but it happened recently in the last couple of years 3 times.
Yes, ma'am.
And so the first thing that you are alleging is that she has committed on 3 separate occasions, recently, probably happened many times in the past, Wrongful eviction.
Right. Judy smirks.
Couple of questions before I actually put the fourth line through this wrongful eviction claim. In any of the recent times that she gave you the boot, were you on the lease?
No.
How could she evict you if you weren't on the lease?
Well, I moved in there with her when she moved in. Lived with her from day one.
From day one, what is day one? Give me day one.
February of 2020.
February of 2020, your daughter was 5, and you were not on the lease.
No.
And how long did you live there before she threw you out?
3 or 4 months.
Okay, then you had a fight.
Yeah.
And she called the police, tossed you out.
I called the police.
Well, you called the police. She said he's not on the lease. They tossed you out.
Right.
How did you get back?
I was living in my car. I had nowhere to go. So, I mean,
Okay,
it was
so you
after
were living in your car. You had nowhere to go, and?
Well, we had both lost everything in the campfire, so we were, we both moved in there together. When she started collecting welfare, I was still living there and helping, you know.
This is much too much information for me,
Okay.
sir. When you moved back in with her, that was after she had thrown you out once.
Right.
Did you say, I'll move back in with you, but I want to be on the lease?
No.
No. So that you knew from the first time that if the police were called, she's going to say, he's not on the lease, and he doesn't live here. So you moved back in with her, with your daughter, because your daughter remained with her.
Right.
In what month?
I can't really recall the dates.
Well, I certainly don't remember. She doesn't have to help you. And then she threw you out again. Were the police called?
Yes, I've called the cops every time that we've had a problem with their drug use.
Okay, you called the police.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that that's a yes.
Yes.
And when the police came, they told you to leave, and you left.
Yep.
Yep, is a yes.
Yes, sorry.
And then you went and stayed in your car again.
Right.
For how long?
A couple months.
How'd you get back in?
The third time I didn't. It was the last time. I bought an RV.
Well, so far I know 2 times, so it's only 2 times that she threw you out.
There's more than it was more than twice.
Let's move on to something else where you might be more successful. Return of rent. What rent do you want?
I have evidence right here of monies that I've given her.
I don't care what money you gave her. When you paid rent the months that you were living there.
Yeah, well, I paid in advance for months. I paid $17.50 at one time.
Just a second. In what year?
This one was December 31st of 2020, right when she moved in there, to help her move in.
Good. I mean, with your daughter.
Right.
Do you regularly pay child support, Mr. Eber?
Yeah, this is part of the child support, but she was collecting welfare fraudulently and not reporting the money I was giving her.
That's terrible. When did you find that out?
When they started garnishing or taking money out of my bank account.
You mean you didn't know that she was collecting welfare before that?
No.
How did you think she was supporting herself?
I gave her half my welfare money. There was $4,800, and I gave her $3,000.
You gave her half of your welfare money?
Yeah, I gave her most of it.
Just a second.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Just a second. I need an eraser. Go like this. I need to erase my brain. She gets welfare for herself and your daughter.
Right.
And you get welfare for you.
No.
Well, what do you mean you give her half your welfare money?
I'm a painting contractor, and then...
So I don't understand. Did he say I gave her half my welfare? I'm sorry, you know, some...
No, half of my wildfire money from losing...
Wildfire!
Wildfire money.
Was that what he said?
I heard welfare.
I
No, I
heard
said
welfare.
wildfire.
You have to be careful.
Sorry.
You see, she's the stenographer.
Okay.
She, thank God, you heard what I heard. Half of your wildfire money.
And that
Just
was
a
like
second,
over...
just a second. Wildfire money. That's a new one. Look it up. Wildfire money. This wildfire was the Paradise Fires.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were living together during the Paradise Fires?
Yes.
In what kind of establishment?
In her parents' house.
So you were living with Miss Gibbons in her parents' house with your daughter.
Right.
And the wildfires destroyed your parents' house? No.
No, it had damages, but they had to fix those, and then they put it on the market shortly after and sold it.
There was a fire. I don't know if I could look into the insurance proceeds of what was paid.
Then for curiosity, Mr. Eber, who did you get money from?
The Northern I forget the name of it, but we got, I think it was $10,000. Everybody that was evacuated or that was in the fire.
So you got $10,000
Right, and so did
for being dispossessed from her parents' home.
Yes. No, yeah. I lost my business in the fire.
No, those are separate things. If you lost your business in the fire, that's another thing. Where was your business located?
Paradise, California.
Okay, and that's separate from where her parents were.
Right.
Okay. And what was the name of the business?
Dale's Painting.
Dale's Painting. Where are you located now?
The business is located 62. I haven't changed the address to the new address.
Let's move on, Mr. Ebert, to something else, please.
Dale grimaces. Caption coming up.
Your personal nonsense has nothing to do with courts. And if you want to have a discussion with somebody about your personal business, go to a counselor, go to Dr. Phil. It's nonsense. Courts don't care about it.
And later today.
Who is going to speak for the two of you?
I will.
She gave you a look.
Okay. Better ask again.
Who's going to speak for you?
I am.
Good.
Make sure you didn't give me that look.
Yeah.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Dale and Ginger.
Dale Ebert claims his former girlfriend and the mother of their daughter, Ginger Gibbons, owes for evicting him multiple times and damaging his property. Ginger is countersuing for an assault.
Okay, let's move on to replacement value of damaged property. Because as you see, I'm singularly unimpressed with the other parts of your complaint. Replacement value of damaged property. What property and how did she damage it?
She put all my stuff out on her patio.
What stuff?
My clothes, my DVDs, my computer.
On what date did she put your stuff out?
I don't know the dates, because she's the one that put them out. She knows that.
Well, on what date were you missing your clothes? Was that the same day you were missing your computer?
No, actually, I had left my computer there. Well, you know, she had put my computer out with my clothes. It was all soaking wet. Yeah, that was the same day I was missing the computer.
Judy waves her hand at him.
You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for assault, primarily, for assault. So I have a couple of questions, because clearly people have nothing better to do than to come here. I, on the other hand, have better things to do. I read your answer and I read your counterclaim. You say in January 2021, he grabbed your purse, claimed that you had drugs, and grabbed me by the hands, and you ended up spraining your pinky. Then I'm jumping forward to May of 2021, when you say I filed a restraining order against him because he crossed the line. That's what you wrote in your answer, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you a simple question. My question to you is between January 21st, 2021, and on or about May, did Mr. Ebert live with you?
No.
When did he leave?
It was at the time, right around the time of the assault.
Well, what happened between January and May?
I did file a restraining order on that incident, and he convinced me to not go through with it. And
just a second. How did he convince you?
He threatened me mostly.
No. Well, tell me.
That he.
Where? Just a second.
I'm sorry.
I want you to tell me. Where was he when he convinced you? Was he on the phone? Was he on texts? Was he on email? Was he in person? Where was he when he convinced you not to go forward?
In multiple areas.
Well, multiple areas.
So I have text messages, you have emails, and phone conversations.
What about in person? What about him?
Face-to-face, no.
Between January 2021 and now, has he been in your home?
No.
Have you been in his home?
No.
So where have you met?
Either outside of the apartment. Actually, I haven't been able to get him to cooperate with any kind of scheduling or anything like that. He pretty much comes and goes as he pleases.
Comes and goes where?
Well, I mean, to the house or whatever to see the baby. Actually, he has not been allowed to come around because he, as of May.
I have to tell you about courts, both of you. We're busy, and your personal nonsense has nothing to do with courts. And if you want to have a discussion with somebody about your personal business and how you can't get along, or You know, go to a counselor, go to Dr. Phil, go to somebody who can negotiate visitation, spend some of your wildfire money on a therapist who can help you negotiate how to raise and co-parent this little girl, because you have a little girl together.
Can I address her restraining order?
I'm throwing it out.
Okay.
It's nonsense. The whole thing is nonsense. Your case is nonsense. Her case is nonsense. Courts don't care about it. You can't get along, don't live together. But don't keep torturing each other, because in the process of torturing each other, what you're doing is you have a child who's a baby, who's growing up with two crazies. She keeps letting you come back in. She tosses you out. You come back in. You float in and out. She may act irresponsibly. If you have a legitimate claim with regard to her parenting skills,
I do.
what you do is you go to family court and you file a petition so that a judge can set a visitation schedule with your child if you want visitation. And if you have a legitimate complaint with her with regard to parenting, because you have a complaint that she is a substance abuser, go to family court and file for custody of your daughter. No.
I got all the papers right here.
You've got what?
All the papers and proof that she's the aggressive person.
No, listen to me. You're not listening. You're floating around in the air. You're in the wrong place. You're in a place where you want money. And what I'm telling you is, if you have a legitimate complaint with regard to her parenting skills, go to family court, where they will not award you money. They will award you custody if you're right. Right now, all you're doing is what my grandmother would say, you're blepturing. You're complaining about her, and you're not putting your money where your mouth is. You want to put your money where your mouth is about a legitimate complaint about her being an unfit parent, and you would be a better parent for your daughter. Go to family court, where you're not seeking $10,000, where you're seeking the right thing for your child. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. Goodbye.
Court is adjourned.
Dale, then Ginger.
I don't know. I guess she's right.
I understand completely.
Well, it's mainly her substance abuse.
I do not have a substance abuse problem.
The neglect to my daughter.
I have all the love in the world for my daughter, of course.
You know, destroying my personal property, and you know, every time she's thrown me out.
Good parents for our daughter. Absolutely, that would be great.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, Sarah, we talk about this all the time, and it's something that I think I've probably said a million times. You have to love those children more than you hate each other, because that's your responsibility. It's as much of a responsibility for their emotional health as it is to put food on the table. It's just so sad to me that this little girl has to live through this tumultuous toddler period, which isn't going to get better.
It's unfortunate.
Case number 1148, Castillo versus Signs. All parties, please step forward.
Ralph and Raquel Castillo are suing photographer Dirsu Sainz for the return of their deposit.
Mr. and Mrs. Castillo, who is going to speak for the two of you?
I will.
Raquel looks at Ralph.
She gave you a look.
Okay. Better ask again.
Who's going to speak for you?
I am.
Good.
To make sure you didn't give me that look.
Yeah. Mr. Castillo, this is your daughter.
Yes.
And she was going to have a celebration. I think it's for her 15th birthday.
Yes.
And that has a special name.
Correct. Quinceañera.
Quinceañera. Tell me about the genesis of that celebration. Why 15?
It's a celebration of a transition of a young girl into a young adult.
Caption coming up.
We walk in and they say, can somebody help us? We have pictures that are locked in our phone. And some young person comes over and 1, 2, 3, and voila, 50 pictures. It's like magic. It's like a genie.
Sarah grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Ralph, Raquel, and Dirsu.
Ralph and Raquel Castillo claim photographer Dirsu Sainz is wrongfully keeping their deposit after their daughter's quinceañera was canceled.
Okay, what's your daughter's first name?
Victoria.
Unfortunately for Victoria, she was celebrating her 15th birthday during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, you had hired the defendant to do the photography and videography for the quinceañera.
Correct.
In what month was your daughter supposed to celebrate her birthday, sir?
April.
And you retained the defendant's services on what date?
November 15th of 2019.
When did you finally retain him? Because you came to a figure, and the figure that you came to with him was $750.
When we gave him the deposit.
Of $750?
$750.
And what was the total amount to be?
$1,750.
Case is a relatively simple one. The party had to be canceled because of COVID restrictions.
Correct.
And you tried to get a refund from Mr. Saints?
Yes.
And you were unsuccessful in getting a refund from him. And then it was your daughter's 16th birthday.
Yes.
And since she missed her 15th big celebration, you thought that the family could now have a smaller celebration in April of 2021, and you asked Mr. Saints if he would take photographs of that.
Yes.
Where was that held?
At our home, it was just myself, my wife, and my daughter. We weren't really getting into having a party.
When you called him to come and take those pictures of her 16th birthday, tell me about the conversation with regard to payment.
Well, we had asked them if we would be able to get a refund, but if we could work something out where we can maybe get a few photos and maybe deduct something from the refund, since he was having a hard time coming up with the money. And he said, don't worry, I'll take care of you.
Okay, so without any further discussion, you had him come to your home and take photographs on...
It was actually January.
Got it. Okay, so he came to the house in January. What time did you get to the house, Mr. Saints?
About 1:30, 1:45.
And what time did you leave?
It was maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock or so.
And during that 2-hour period, he was there primarily taking photographs of yourself, your wife, and your daughter?
Correct.
When he left, he told you he would provide you with photographs.
Correct.
Did he do that?
Partially.
When you say partially, what did he provide you with?
53 pictures and 2 minutes and 53 seconds of video on email.
Yeah, that's the way people do it these days.
Correct.
Okay, so you have those photographs?
Not physically. He said that we can go to Walmart and have them printed.
Okay. Do you have the photographs?
I have some photographs.
May I see them, please? Did you go to Walmart and have them printed?
We never got the thumb drive that he promised.
Just a second. Mr. Saints, did you deliver them a thumb drive?
I did not. I emailed all the photos and the video.
Okay.
Judy reviews photos of Victoria.
Well, these are beautiful photographs, sir. Did you look at all the photographs that he emailed you?
Yes.
Well, they're lovely, and you look beautiful.
Thank you.
Mr. Castillo, you were asking for your refund of your deposit. He was at your house for 2 hours. He sent you 53 photographs. He took video. Why would you think that you're entitled to your deposit back? For $750, he came to your house, which means he traveled to your house. I don't know where you live. Where do you live?
Corona.
Where do they live?
Like Marita, it's about an hour.
So he had an hour travel time each way. That's 2 hours. And he spent 2 hours with you. In addition to that, he provided you with 50 photographs that I assume had to have some work done on them.
Yeah.
Because they always do. Yeah. And he provided you with video. So the man worked for 4 hours and he provided you with a product. Why in the world do you think he is responsible for giving you $750 back?
Well, because we only received 2 minutes and 53 seconds of video.
And?
And 53 pictures and no thumb drive.
Well,
how are we going to print up the pictures that you have in your hand without the thumb drive to take the...
Listen, I am so challenged when it comes to doing that. I am so challenged. But I know if you send them by email that you can take them in to someone at a CVS. They do that, Mr. Castillo, for old people in Florida. We go in there as if we haven't a clue. We walk in, they say, can somebody help us? We have pictures that are locked in our phone, and we don't know how to work this machine. And some young person comes over, and 1, 2, 3, they shove something from your phone into a machine, and they press a couple of buttons, and voila, out spits out 50 pictures. It's like magic. It's like a genie. And then you say, thank you very much. You give them $20 for their trouble. And that's how you, Mr. Castillo, that's how you do it. You take the email, you take it in, and you say to them, I have this. Could you help me? I'm old, and I'm like Judge Scheindlin. I don't know what I'm doing. Could you fix it for me? Is there any way, Mr. Saints, just for my own information, is there any way that you can take this, because he seems to know something, because he said thumb drive. Now, I have heard that term before, and I actually know it looks like a fob or something. Is there any way that you could send him that?
I could, yeah.
Mr. Saints, I want you to be a saint. That might be easier for him. Because what he says is, if he had that, he would know what to do with it. He doesn't know what to do with it with an email, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Will you take care of that?
Of course.
How long will that take you to take care of that, to send him a thumb?
You'll get it in 2 days in his house.
Promise me?
I swear.
Very good. You have no case against him, Mr. Castillo. Your case is dismissed. You get that to him. Otherwise, I'm coming to look for you.
You got it.
Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
All right.
Ralph.
I feel that if we would have got the thumb drive from the very beginning instead of waiting all these years, we wouldn't be here today.
I am very happy with the decision that Judge Judy made.
Finally, we'll get some, end result with the work he put into it, and we'll actually physically have it so we can use it.
I'll send the thumb drive to Mr. Castillo, and that way they'll get going with their life, and I will with mine.
Sarah.
All those people seemed lovely, and I think the plaintiffs were trying to get their money back because they were unable, because of COVID, like so many other people, to have this special celebration. But I think that the deposit that they did pay is pretty similar to what they would have paid for this sort of photo shoot, for 50 or so photos, a little videography. They sort of canceled each other out, and I don't think the plaintiffs realized that until you pointed it out to them.
You know, sometimes you need somebody in life, you need somebody to blame for something. You can't blame COVID for the fact that your daughter didn't have this once-in-a-lifetime event of transitioning at age 15.
For the balance of an RV and an assault.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches Judge Judy.
Case 2096, Martinez versus Archuleta.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Judy turns to Erica.
Well, each of you was suing each other for the hefty sum of $10,000. Ms. Martinez, you say you were like a cousin to one of these defendants. Which one?
Tina.
That would be you.
That'd be me.
And your name is?
Felicia Archuleta.
You live together?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
It is your claim that Tina purchased from you an old RV for $1,000, that she currently has possession of the RV, that she has not paid for the RV, and that when you went to their home to collect the money for the RV, that one of them assaulted you.
Both of them.
The defendants say that the original purchase price, which was $1,000, was reduced because the RV was not running. They paid you the $200. Did you give her the $200?
I did.
You did? And that was the day that you took the RV?
No.
When?
That wasn't the day that I took it. So what happened?
No. You took the RV. When did you give her the $200?
This was after I already had it.
Did you ever get $200 from the defendants?
No, I didn't. I received $160 from Tina.
Okay, so let's get back to the RV. How long did you have the RV? And it was just sitting on your property, is that right?
Right.
How long have you had it?
I've had the RV for about 6 years.
What did you do with it? Did you travel with it?
I lived in it for about 2 months, and then I parked it. And
so it was running?
Yes.
But at the time you wanted to get rid of it, it wasn't running?
No.
Did you know what was wrong with it?
Yes, the fuel pump was going bad in it, so we had to replace that.
But it didn't start. They had to have it towed.
Right.
Tina towed it.
Right.
Back to their property.
Yes, they did.
Okay, so when they took it, the agreement was that they were to pay you how much?
$1,000.
And you acknowledged that you were supposed to pay $1,000.
Yes.
Did you get the title at that time?
Not at that time.
You did not?
No.
Is that correct? At the time that they took the RV and had it towed, they gave you no money?
They gave me no
money. Subsequently, they gave you $160.
Correct.
According to you. And tell me under what circumstances they gave you the $160. Tina did.
I went over to their house and they gave me the money in hand.
Okay, and what did you give them?
Well, they had the RV given, the title given to them the day that they took the RV.
And then $160. Mm-hmm. Did she ever give you any other money?
No.
Now, when did you go over, according to you, to the property to get the rest of the money? And tell me what happened. What date?
It was August 27th in the evening. I called Tina and told her I was on my way. I went over to her property and
You drove?
I drove my car to her property, and Felicia was outside loading the car.
That's Felicia.
Correct.
That's you.
And so I asked her, where is Tina? She says she is inside. I said, well, can you call her? So she called Tina on her phone. So Tina came out and she comes up to me and says, what's up? And I said, I'm here to get my money. And Tina tells me, no, you're not getting nothing. I told you you're going to get it when I have it. I said, no, that is not the deal. I want all my money or I'm taking the RV. Now, I have text messages that show that about the RV, about her saying, well, if it's going to be such a problem, you come and pick up the RV and your title. You know, I'm coming to have it picked up tonight. You need to make sure that, you know, not to touch it. And I'm going
Who was living in the RV at the time?
I had my friends in there that would help me try to get it started.
So friends of yours were living in the RV. Okay.
And she told me.
Go ahead.
Okay, and so I told her that I was going to throw them out because she has not paid me for my RV. And then in the text, she also replies that, well, if I wanted to be grimy, I got the title and I could go ahead and keep it. And I do have proof of that.
I would like to see those texts.
Here's the proof. Here you go.
Erica hands documents to Kevin.
There's some more. Those ones.
He brings them to Judy, who reviews them.
Well, you acknowledge in the text back and forth that you owe her $800.
Yeah, I never said I didn't. The thing is,
okay.
Can I tell you one thing?
All I'm asking is you acknowledge that you owe her $800. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Caption, coming up.
I told Tina I'm done with it all. I'm going to make sure that I have someone pick up the RV tonight. And she got upset, screamed, no, you're not. It's a done deal. No, it's not. And I said, I'm getting my RV tonight.
Later.
You chose not to do this shower?
Well, it's not that I didn't choose not to do it. It's she went to Twitter and threatened to beat butt. And I'm not doing business if you want to fight me.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Erica, Tina, and Felicia.
Erica Martinez claims her cousin, Tina Archuleta, and her wife, Felicia Archuleta, owe for the balance of an RV. Tina and Felicia are countersuing for slander and an assault.
Okay, so I have $800 balance for the RV. Now, you want to tell me about this alleged assault, which, according to you, is worth another $9,000?
Well, yes. Well, as I was speaking with Tina about it after that, me and her were going back and forth. And we were yelling at each other, and then her wife got involved, and I told her, you need to stay out of it. And then I told Tina, I'm done with it all. You know, I'm going back. I'm going to make sure that I have someone pick up the RV tonight. And she got upset, screamed, no, you're not. It's a done deal. No, it's not. You're not doing this. And I said, yes, I am. I'm getting my RV tonight. And then I turned around, went into my car. Felicia says, you ain't getting spit on me from the passenger side. And Tina runs up and punched me in my face, and my glasses flew this way. And that's when I told her, that's it, she's in trouble now. And so that's
Do you have a police report on that?
I do.
On photographs? Do you have any medical record?
I do got the medical records. They're right here.
Erica produces documents, then hands them to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
Okay, this is standard fare. It doesn't give me...
It shows that I did go to the doctor's 2 days after because I was having migraines.
That's why I'm not understanding it, because it doesn't make sense. Okay. Do you have photographs of your alleged injury to your face?
No, I have the police reports, but it takes 15 days for them.
Just a second. All I'm asking you is, you don't have medical records of the day of this injury. You had a headache. 2 days later, you went to the hospital. So this is useless to me. You don't have photos of your injury, and you don't have a police report. Is that what you're telling me?
I do have the police number for it, but I don't have the report on me,
no. Okay. So far, they owe you $800. Now you have a counterclaim because you acknowledge you owed her $800. You have a counterclaim for harassment, slander, and assault. Who are you alleging the plaintiff assaulted? Who are you?
Back to something?
No. Who are you alleging the plaintiff assaulted? That would be you. That's Felicia. How did the plaintiff assault you?
She ran me over.
She tried to run her over.
Tried to run me over.
Well, there's a difference between running you over and trying to run you over. Did she run you over, or did she attempt to run you over?
She attempted to run me over.
Okay, so that at best would be an attempted assault.
Yes.
So you suffered no injuries?
No.
Okay. Do you have any police report?
I do, Your Honor.
Indicating that you told the police on that date that she attempted to run you over?
This is the one where it says where she tried to run my wife over.
Okay, I'd like to see it, please.
This is the original.
No, I don't. That's all I want.
Tina hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Okay, so it says I told her to start the truck up and move her car because I was leaving and she was behind us, still arguing. So she put it in gear and tried to hit my wife. Is that what you're talking about? Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you suffer any injuries?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
Okay. So this case is a very simple one.
And then, Your Honor,
Tina, the case is a very simple one. You owe her $800 for the balance of the RV, which you acknowledge in your text. But the only other part that you have is for slander. Now, you say that in your cross complaint, the plaintiff has slandered you. I'd like to see the evidence that you have that she has slandered you. May I see it, please?
I need to show her she wanted the dog.
Tina hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
This isn't slander. I mean, she calls you nasty names, but sticks and stones, and she says they wouldn't pay me for my stuff, my RV, and so forth. That's not slander.
Can I say one thing that I need to get out there? Because originally, the first thing before even doing any of this, she wanted a puppy. And that's where all this title and everything came in.
I read that.
She wanted a puppy.
I read that, and then she changed her mind.
Yeah, and that's where we got the title.
I don't care. You owe her $800. You acknowledge in your text messages.
Try to keep your peace.
Listen to me. I don't care. You acknowledge that you owed her $800, the balance of the $1,000 for the RV. She came to try to get it. There was an argument, and it got nasty. You owe her, Tina, the $800 that you agreed to pay her, the balance of the RV. Judgment for the plaintiff. Counterclaims dismissed. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I'm very happy with it.
She wanted a dog. That's why she gave me the title.
She had asked me if I wanted a puppy, but she said that she'd make a deal with me and only charged me $1,200, which she changed her words, and it was $1,500, so I did not get the puppy.
I tried to keep the peace and say, oh, okay, I'll pay you after she changed her mind.
She's a good liar.
She's just a liar. I don't care. She needs money more than I do.
I honestly think it's ridiculous. We should never have to come to this.
The Shant family.
It's all good.
No more family, for sure.
Sarah.
This case was another great example of why it's so important, especially with family and friends, if you're going to sell something of value, to have it in writing. People assume with strangers, oh, of course I should have a writing when I'm selling something. But when it's to a friend or a family member, that gift and loan line are very close together, and a writing proves to this court very easily which one of the two it is. So I think that that's a great takeaway from cases like these.
It is. It's a great takeaway. I've always said that when you apply for a marriage license, usually you just have to show your citizenship, date of birth, but I actually think that a marriage license should include all the property that you claim as separate property.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be easy? It would do away with probably 30% or 40% of the divorce proceedings that become acrimonious because you sort of lay it out. So I think that really writing is always important because at the time, you're usually happy with each other. At the time that you're contesting that sale, you're not so happy. So if you have a writing or if you have a license, it makes everybody's job and your stress level reduced. And I'm all about reducing my stress level.
Of course.
Case 2150, Thomas Williams versus Gilmore. All parties, please step forward.
Diamond Thomas and Rumby Williams are suing Rumby's former friend, Shamia Gilmore, for a deposit and the costs of a brunch.
Diamond, this is your boyfriend.
Yes.
And you were planning a baby shower?
It was actually a sipping seed for her.
What is that?
So it's like family and friends weren't allowed to really come to the hospital, so we decided to have a little event after the baby turned 6 weeks.
Okay, so that was October 22nd.
Yes.
You hired Miss Gilmore as the caterer of that little event. She quoted you a price of $500 to cater the event, and you gave her a $250 deposit.
Correct.
Then some stuff bothered you a little bit because you, according to what I read, you found some either text messages or whatever between the defendant and boyfriend, which you felt were a little too cozy by her.
Yes.
And you gave her a buzz and you sort of had it out with her. I don't want you to do this anymore, whatever. Anyway, you called her back and said, yes, I want you to do it. She ended up not doing this sip and see. And she finally called you and said, I'm not doing it. I don't like the attitude, I'm not doing it. And you said, fine, give me my $250 back. She said, no. So you're suing her for not only your deposit back, $250, you did hire other people to cater the event.
No, we did it ourselves.
And you want her to pay $1,025 because you said that that's what it cost you over and above $250 plus the rest.
Yes.
Well, that you can't have.
Caption, coming up.
An offer and acceptance and a meeting of the minds. That was the contract. That doesn't have to be in writing.
We have a verbal agreement via
that's what
Instagram.
That's what I just said.
So it is in writing.
Who cares?
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Diamond, Rumby, and Shamia.
Diamond Thomas and Rumby Williams claim Rumby's former friend, Shamia Gilmore, owe for a deposit and the cost of a brunch.
Okay, you're going to tell me you chose not to do this shower? You chose not to do it?
Well, it's not that I didn't choose not to do it. It's she went to Twitter and threatened to beat butt, and I'm not doing business. If you want to fight me, it's
okay.
It doesn't make sense. To be
okay, well, I don't blame you. If she went to Twitter and said something nasty about you, then I wouldn't do her baby shower, sip and see, whatever they call it. I wouldn't do it either. Then you have to give her back her $250.
And I bought items for the brunch already. I offered the mimosa bar back and I offered $125 back. She wants the whole thing. If I already spent money out my pocket, there's no way you think I'm going to give you a whole $250. That doesn't make sense.
Well, just a second. Okay. Let me see what she wrote about you on Twitter.
And also, Judge.
So what you're saying is you actually made a purchase.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have proof of that purchase that you made?
I have the mimosa bar. I don't have it with me, but I didn't print anything off.
I don't even know what that is.
Bar.
What is a mimosa bar?
So it's where you put the mimosa glasses on it's a grass wall, but it has where you hang the cups up at on the wall with the mimosa glass, like the champagne flutes that you put on the wall. And then it has.
Have you used that before?
No, well, I bought one before, but I still have it brand new.
Just a second. Have you used it before? You're a caterer.
Yes, ma'am.
How many times?
Quite a few.
How many?
2 hands, maybe 7 or 8 times.
Okay. And you buy a new one each time you use it?
Yes, ma'am. I let them keep it.
Just a second. You let them keep it. Well, now you can keep this one and use it next time.
Okay.
And I would like to say something about the $950 that she owes us. We gave her a deposit of $250, and she is claiming that we had made anything threatening towards her.
No, just a second.
And she canceled on us. And so I feel that we didn't have enough ample time to be able to find another caterer to do our event.
Well, that's too bad.
Can I ask why?
Absolutely, because you're entitled to your money back, but your contract was for her to do a party, which she ended up not doing.
Can we see the contract? Because I don't.
No, you haven't. We
don't have the contract.
Yeah, and
yes, you do. You had an agreement. She was going to do an event for you on October 22nd. You agreed for her to do the event for you on October 22nd. And you gave her a $250 deposit. That's a contract. It's an oral contract. You had an offer. You had an acceptance. That's a contract. An offer and acceptance and a meeting of the minds. She was going to do the event for $500. You paid her $250. That was the contract. That doesn't have to be in writing.
We have a verbal agreement via
that's what
Instagram.
That's what I just said.
So it is in writing.
Who cares?
Well, it was the point that how are we supposed to be compensated for everything that we had to do after she canceled?
Well, you have to grow up. You have a baby.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is this your only baby?
Yes.
Great, you have a baby. You have to grow up. I grew up so much. The old me would have beat out one of you. What is that?
I'm not sure.
Would you show this to the plaintiff? I'm just curious. She's going to give you back your $250 anyway. She chose not to do the event.
Kevin hands a document to Diamond.
What?
I don't know what that is. I'm showing it to you. She gave me to show me something that you wrote.
You want me to read it?
No, I'm
or
just
you want me to
asking.
tell you what it is?
No, I'm just asking you if you were the author of that.
Yes.
And who did you write it about?
It was just a general statement. It wasn't about anybody in particular. That's why I didn't
give that back.
Direct it. The name.
Very, very easy. Your baby nice? You happy with your baby?
Yes.
Very good. You have nothing to do with her anymore?
No.
Good. You have a mimosa wall? Use it for another event. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $250. We're done here. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I don't agree with the judge's decision. I'm satisfied with the $250 and knowing that Shamia was wrong to keep our deposit after she canceled on us.
It's just a lot of mess. I won't do business with them ever again.
It is what it is. If she felt some type of way, that's on her.
I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm doing.
We just won't ever do business with her again because she is very unprofessional, just like the tweet said.
Judy.
Do you know it's an exciting day when at my age you learn something new?
We learn a lot of new things here.
Learn a lot of new things here. So I've just about mastered the engagement party, the wedding, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, quinceañeras, christenings, baptisms, baby showers, if I haven't mentioned that, anniversary parties. But this is the first time I ever heard that expression, a